Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night, and this is the NLG show. Episode, what are we on, Peter? 272. We are approaching that 300 mark, brother. I think we're going to hit it by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we will too.
So, how's everyone doing? My goodness, we've got a packed house tonight. Already 50 people and counting. Waiting to hear some Intellivision news. We kind of preempted what we were going to talk about this week, which was Call of Duty staying on PlayStation and Nintendo Direct, and we may hit that a little later on tonight. But when we get an opportunity like this, we do not pass it up. And tonight it is an honor to welcome in two of Intellivision's leadership team. One I've talked to before, and in John Alvarado, the current CTO, great guy, the best mustache in all of gaming. See, I told you I was going to get it in there. How you doing, Mike? John? And to his right, maybe my left. I don't know. I'm bad with the camera. He is the new CEO, Chief Operating. There you go. John's got it. Chief Operating Officer of Intellivision, Mr. Phil Adam. Phil, thank you for joining us tonight. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. I appreciate you taking time, both of you, taking time out of your busy schedules to come and talk to us tonight. I know there's a lot to go over, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mike.
Absolutely, and all the way over, we moved to the endpoints tonight, so we're bookending them. Peter,
yeah,
what's up, man? Wait, I'm still I can't get it right. What's going on, Peter? How you doing over there, brother?
Yeah, doing great.
Unfortunately, Chris could not make it tonight. He is in the chat though, but he's under the weather, and he's going to be helping to just keep an eye on things tonight in the chat. We've got a packed house, 52 wonderful people. Our chat room is some of the best, and I know there are people who are here because they see the word Intellivision and came running. There are a lot of folks here that are interested in what is going on with the Amico, what is going on with Intellivision. Obviously there's a lot of information that's been going around since last week. Our brother who's in the chat, Retro Bro, who was kind enough to put the disclaimer in the chat already. Sunday night, Phil, we were able to talk to you and get some information. We're going to kind of expand on that a little tonight. And get John's perspective as well, because I think there are some things that we'd like to know, maybe from the technical side as to where things are, and so the perfect man for the perfect job for that one. So it's great to have you guys. So real quick, I love to say hi to everyone in the chat, but good grief, there are so many people. So I'm going to give a general hello right now, tell you thank you guys so much for coming out and hanging with us tonight. I will give the disclaimer because we have to. We understand that this subject and the things that go around it are fairly polarizing. It's unfortunate because, I know Peter and I are really excited for this console, but our chat is a welcoming, friendly place. It always has been, and that continues tonight. So we do ask that you are respectful. I cannot guarantee we'll get a lot of questions in, but please be respectful. And the mods are weapons free tonight. We are a zero tolerance.
Can't hear you anymore, Mike.
Chat. We can't hear me anymore.
Well, you
cut out for a couple seconds there.
Yeah,
I think the crowd was doing the wave. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there you go. We are a zero tolerance channel. We want everybody to feel like they belong in our chat and can talk to each other and talk with us and be part of our show. So I just have to throw that out there for the night.
And disagreeing is fine as long as you're being
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. There's a couple of folks in here who are concerned, Phil, and John, and I can understand that. So maybe tonight we get some of the answers out there, get some information about where Intellivision is, where you guys are going, what maybe we can get a ship update from you. We'll try. and just see if we can, also.
Well,
just...
you heard what I said Sunday night. So.
I did. And we'll get there. But we're gonna have a good time tonight and get some information out. So, Phil, before anything else, like I'm an older gamer, Peter's an older gamer, and when we met you, it's not the first time we met you, which was on Sunday. We had met you once before. You have a pretty good pedigree behind you, as far as both of you do. I'm gonna ask John this too, because we like to do that. Phil, you have a pedigree behind you of being able to run multiple. You've run multiple companies at this point. Can you give us just a real quick background on your expertise in the gaming industry?
Okay, well, I mean, it kind of is going to give my age away. It's really 81. I kind of was working with a small company, Apple Computer, bringing out PCs. I worked with Atari. I worked with Altos. I worked with CPM-based machines, working for a small computer store. And we kind of put out the first software store. And in '83, I co-founded a company called Spectrum Holobyte. Spectrum, first known for Gato, World War II submarine simulation, which was the first product to take Microsoft Flight Simulator out as the #1 product on Billboard magazine. We also had a product, more of an educational product called Telstar, which in 1984 was Educational Product of the Year. It beat out the other educational product. So I've got a long history in the business. I founded Spectrum Holobyte. I merged it with a Bay Area company, probably better known for a little game I brought out of Russia called Tetris. I did the original licensing deal with Alexei, introduced the product to Hank. Sometimes Hank's called the grandfather of Tetris, and Hank said to me one time, I said, "That makes you the great grandfather of Tetris," and I said, "Thanks a lot, Hank." It's when you're negotiating a contract in a communist country in the '80s, and you negotiating with somebody who has two soldiers with their equivalent of an M16. I don't know what the Russian gun is. It makes you think how
AK-47,
strict you want to stick. Probably. So, I mean, how strict do you want to be? And Tetris ended up in kind of a weird place with the whole Nintendo Tengen thing. I wasn't involved with that. I actually first took it to Ron Judy, the president of Nintendo Europe, and then to on in further. But it kind of got lost in the shuffle. Our partners in Europe had licensed to Tengen, and they were in a fight with Nintendo. So the rest is kind of history. Some great stories there. I think a movie that's coming out is going to deal mostly with that. You can go back to a lot of the documentaries and see when I showed Hank the product originally. And then I left and took a small developer who was distributing through Activision and helped them become a publisher, a company called Interplay. So I was head of sales and marketing for Interplay. I basically pulled the product out of Activision. We published and self-published ourselves. I was there when the company went public. I was, I headed up licensing and business development. And eventually at one point later on, I helped. Silicon and Synapse was one of our licensees, and I helped that transaction and sale over to with Sierra and to Davidson, Silicon and Synapse, known as Blizzard today. I brought Ray and Greg from BioWare into the business. They were down the street at Origin.
Sorry.
Is that my time? Is that my time minder? I'm
no, hold on. Let me turn that down. Sorry. That was a wrap it up button. No. Sorry. You go ahead.
So essentially, I was involved with the Ray and Greg and BioWare and kind of their first deals, and then I also was involved with a little company called Naughty Dog, I met those guys in their apartment in Boston, took them to their first dinner and to legal seafood. And we at Interplay didn't have the bandwidth to deal with them, but our 30% owner was a company called Universal. So Ryan said, sure, take them over to Skip Paul. We did. And Universal did a deal then with Naughty Dog and the two co-founders.
Was that Vivendi at the time, Vivendi Universal? I know Vivendi got involved with them.
No. I wasn't. I was dealing with Universal Studios.
Gotcha.
And
gotcha.
So I was dealing with Skip Paul, who reported to Lou Wasserman. Actually, Brian dealt with them more than I did, and I just kind of brought the deal in. I helped present Shiny when Atari bought those from us at Interplay. So I've been involved with a lot of great IP. Rusty Bucher kind of brought in the guys at Parallax who became Red Faction, dealing with THQ, Matt and Myke, and I was involved in that original deal. So I've been involved in licensing, biz dev, sales, marketing. I've run product development. I've kind of run all aspects of the companies, but my background is primarily sales, marketing, business development, finance, more on the business side. And so I've been in the business since 1981. So, and I was 2 at the time. Actually, I was in 1981. I come to think of it, in 1981, I was kind of old then. So I'm really old now.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. I was 8. I was 8.
We'll go with that. I was a year or 2 ahead of you in school.
I was playing an actual Intellivision back then.
So if that does you any good, you were 8, my son was 7. So that's
there you go. There you go.
So I've been in the business for a long time. I've seen and been around a lot of intellectual property, a lot of different people. At one time, I was chairman of the board of the SBA. At one time, I potentially turned down Olaf Olofsson to be the first president of Sony of America, the Sony PlayStation. I was close to doing a deal with and becoming that with Lucas, except I'd already committed to Brian Fargo and Interplay. And I'm loyal by nature, not necessarily smart, but loyal. So that's kind of my history in the business. I've been in it a long time. I've been around a lot of great IP and intellectual property, much more in the PC arena and console arena with Nintendo when we did Lost Vikings and others at Interplay in the beginning. Less on the retro side. I was an Atari 400 chiclet keyboard Star Raider kind of guy. And that's kind of my history. And John's is much more exciting.
Oh, I'm getting ready to ask John. but just
I don't know about that, Phil. Yours is exciting.
A couple things is, see, TJ Ferrer said it. I knew he'd hear that. Some of us grew up, I started on a 400. I got the 800. And then my dad brought home a 1200 XL. And I was like, I had an 810 drive that was happy modified. And I remember, I mean, I could go on about the Atari, but that could be a whole hour of just that. So
I grew up in Missouri. We only had one plug-in in the house, so I couldn't get and that was to the bathroom.
We're gonna leave that one right there. Go to John.
We are.
Oh, so John, I know I've talked to you before about your history, but I want people to know you are also you're an industry veteran as well. And you've had a long, pretty storied history. And by the way, what is that action figure behind you? What is that statue behind you?
That's a xenomorph. That's one of the Alien, series monsters. Creatures.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the Wasteland 2 box from when I did Wasteland 2 in Exile, signed by all of us developers. So
yeah, you got out of there before Microsoft bought them.
That's right. So just in time.
Yeah. Oh, shots fired. Oh, wait a minute, Peter, real quick. We have a new friend of NLG.
We do have a new friend of NLG. Video Game Virus. Welcome to the Friends of NLG.
Oh man, love you, Cyrus. Okay, so John.
Yeah, so when
Oh.
Phil was founding Spectrum Holobyte back in '83, I was doing my first professional gig porting Centipede from the Atari 800 to the Commodore 64. That was just out of high school with my friend Greg Tavares, who were best friends and high school mates. So that's when I got started. And when Phil was talking about how old he is, and I was thinking about how old I am, it reminded me that the first time I hired a programmer that was born after I started making games professionally was in Exile in 2003. I hired a programmer who was born post '83. That was quite a shock. So I did that, and we also did a port of Mario Brothers from, well, it was actually just not really a port, but we just looked at the arcade game and created that on the Commodore 64, which was pretty much done, but that's when AtariSoft, who was funding these projects, shut down just basically when the video game industry crashed in '83, '84. So that one was never officially published, but I learned later that it was leaked, and a lot of people played it and enjoyed that game. So that was really nice to hear later. When I was at Virgin Games, I learned that from some of the other programmers from Europe. But I went to UCLA, and after graduation, worked with my buddies again, Greg Tavares, and some of my other friends, like Greg Marquez, who works here at Intellivision as well right now. We worked together, living in a house, doing contract programming, making games, and I eventually got a job at Virgin Interactive Entertainment, and that's where I met Tommy and Myke Dietz and Ed Schofield, who are here at Intellivision now. And we did some games there. We did Monopoly Deluxe for DOS. That was the first game that I worked on with Myke and Tommy. And I left there to form my own company with some people that left with me from Virgin. And we formed a company that was developing a game for what would be the next iteration of the 3DO, which was called codenamed M2. But that never got released, and we ended up folding that company. And I formed another company, Big Rub, and ran that one for about 7 years. And we did work with Shiny and Interplay. And during those years is when I first met Phil. I actually didn't even meet him in person, but I talked to him on the phone a lot, trying to get business from Interplay, trying to drum up business. And we did some work with Shiny, and then with Interplay directly helping them finish some of their games, and then did some more games on our own as Big Rub. And after we closed that company, I worked for Brian Fargo for almost 14 years at NXL Entertainment, and a short stint at Blind Squirrel, and then I hopped on board here at Intellivision to join Tommy on this mission to bring this console to the world and help bring families and friends together for couch co-op, clean, fun play with no advertisements and no in-app purchases.
Well, you beat me. I think I was with Brian only 13 years, John. I hate to lose, but demon.
Wow. So I just want to really quick. There are 134 people watching us right now. I don't even know what to say. Thank you guys all for coming in. Noof, Noof, Retro Bro accidentally banned you because we have trigger fingers tonight for anything that might be going wrong in the chat, and he does not know your sense of humor. So it was a complete mistake, Noof. So sorry. Noof he's a wonderful guy. He is somebody who is interested in the Amico. He's a little so again, why we had you guys come on, he's a little concerned about what's been kind of floating out in the ether. So that's why we wanted to give people the opportunity to hear it right from you guys, the real scoop. You know, for better or for worse, you know, people may or may not still feel comfortable, and that's okay. But you guys deserve, to be quite honest, and I'll die on that hill, you guys deserve the opportunity to tell your side of what's going on. And so that's where we're headed. So
I think the easiest thing to address first is really the kind of the rumor that Tommy's no longer at the company, or that something different happened. Tommy and I've been at the company for, well, as long as John has. John and I have both been there pretty much 3.5 years. and John was a full-time employee there. I started out doing some consulting outside because, you know, we could only afford a certain size payroll, quite frankly. So I did and started doing a lot of the business transactions, deals, capital raising, working with, and then kind of rolled into the senior global VP of sales and business development. I essentially negotiated most of the, a lot with Tommy, but most of the licenses and deals. Some cases worked out a lot of the development contracts. John did too, as well as setting up kind of the sales structure on a global side, working with Hans, working with our senior sales VP, who came from Nintendo and has had more hardware experience on the sales side than I did. And then from there, I was promoted to chief revenue officer, really to look at driving revenue, bringing in investor, looking as COVID hit, as our original cost of goods started soaring, we had to think quickly. And you know, maybe our mistake was that we were going to deliver a product at a certain price point. That was pre-COVID. We didn't envision the type of costs of goods escalating and the things that went on. We didn't have that crystal ball. Does that make us bad people? Maybe our mistake was that we really wanted to deliver a console and hit a price point that made families and people feel good. And it just got to the point when people say the price rose from 169 or 79 to 229 to 249. And Tommy took a lot of heat for that. That was me. It wasn't Tommy. I mean, I guess I should blame it on Tommy, but in reality, you just do the math and do the numbers and the margins I needed for GameStop and for EB and Walmart and the Canadian retailers and Amazon and Walmart.com and everything that we needed to do to deliver a product to retail. And it became evident as costs were rising that we needed to look at, you know, how we could offset that. And one of the ways was trying to do more business direct and less at retail in the beginning as cost goes down on our side. But with COVID, with shortage of parts and everybody needing them, that didn't happen. So, you know, again, it's just kind of, it's not been an easy road. We don't want to, you know, we're not looking at gouging. We're looking at basically making the company sustainable.
Yeah, I want to point out.
Go ahead, John.
I want to point out that the normal pattern is the cost of these parts go down over time. You know, hardware becomes less expensive, and sure. The world turned upside down in us, where the parts that should have become cheaper, you know, after a time actually went up in price. So, you know, we had to respond to that.
And just so you know, we're designing a console from scratch. This is ground up, different concept, and really with entertainment in mind, the family in mind. We knew we weren't going to compete with PlayStation or Xbox, certainly not at all. What we wanted to do was offer a fun factor, playability. When people are playing on couch co-op against each other, the AI becomes the other person, which changes every time, and you add longevity and hours of gameplay and family fun. And without question, the number one priority for us is fun. It's the fun factor. We're probably not for everybody. I know we're not for everybody. We're not for the hardcore gamer. I put, you know, Rally Sports Challenge on the Xbox. I actually logged over 1,000 driving hours and ranked in the top 25 in the world. I've played games at a certain level. As I've gotten older, family, whatever, I enjoy doing things with my wife and my family. And again, I think that's where we saw the hole in the market once kind of the Wii kind of left the market. It wasn't so much that people didn't want the Wii. Nintendo just didn't keep it dedicated to it. They shifted gears, and you can debate that all you want. And everybody has a different opinion. And just so you know, everybody has a right to their own opinion. I don't begrudge people for that. You know, it's the hater thing. I don't use that as a term. People dislike what we're doing or what we're bringing to market. It's not for them. I get that. We're not going to be for everybody. I'd like to think in a lot of situations where people's second console, that they can play with their family, that play with their friends on game night. So that's kind of my hit and thought on it. I'm probably talking more than I need to, but it's been a challenge, and we've got people that walking in the office every day for over a year in California. We couldn't walk into the office. The engineers designing together, working together. John could probably address that better than I can, but that doesn't make it easy to build a system, to build the cohesiveness you need to make that happen in a time frame that we had originally intended.
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is I might dispute a little bit of the hardcore gamer part, because I'm ready for that Astro Smash, Phil. I'm ready. But no, I understand. And real quick before I get any farther, and that chat scrolls too far up, Peter, we got to grab some super chats. Oh my God!
Yes, we sure do. I've been recording them because.
Oh, thank goodness.
The same thing as what you just said. They scroll out of view, but I didn't want to break the flow of the conversation.
We have crossed 300. So we have crossed 300 viewers right now. Guys, awesome. Bottom of our hearts, cannot thank you enough for coming in tonight. Peter, go ahead.
All right, first Bacon Ice Cream Productions with the $9.99 super chat. Woohoo! Over 100 people in the chat. Smash that like button. And then GJC Gaming Studios. Oh,
I love DJC.
He actually did 2 super chats. First one for $10. If Intellivision Amico doesn't come out, I will start wearing sleeves. That's how much I believe in this company and in this product.
I don't think I could handle that. I couldn't handle that.
And he gave us another one for $5. I will also give up inflatable flamingos and tap, as well as start wearing sleeves for the Amigo.
Wow.
Hashtag Intellivision Legends. I love these guys. Well, thank you, DJC.
Thank you, DJC.
And then our last one from Thomas Bryan for $20. This is dedicated to Tommy and the Intellivision team.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. And again, thank you guys in the chat for being, again, being really respectful, being really, you guys, I do see what's going on in there. It is hard to keep up. I know Peter's doing his best to try to keep up. And the comments in the chat are fantastic. Whether you're with this, you have concerns, you have questions, or just not a fan of it but want to hear, it's okay. Trillcast, I just see that one. It's okay, right? He says, I'm not going to lie. I no longer have an Amico pre-order due to all the delays. I'll be looking at the product again once I've seen people review it and make a decision at that time, which, of course, we will be one of those places. You will definitely see streams and unboxings. Seth, that you see on the screen here, who does my Video Games Monthly unboxings with me, he is really excited for this. He's been since Crayola, and he's going to be helping me a lot with this as we go forward. So you kind of get that aspect of the family thing. So, Bill, I'm going to ask you a loaded question. I feel like it's warranted. People keep saying this thing, because of the risk disclosures that were in the SEC part of the funding campaign. The overarching thing is, well, this thing might not come out. And we'll get to why you had to do that, and I'm happy for you to tell why you had to say that. But let's put this to bed right now. Is the Intellivision Amico releasing in 2022?
Yes, that's certainly our goal. Yes, 2022. The Intellivision Amico will release, and we've actually committed, just so people know, to a release date by the end of February. So I did that on Sunday night. So there are, as I said Sunday night, there are a couple factors that come into play on timing and cadence and how many and when. And when we're ready to have that type of information, I mean, it could be March 1st, but the goal is to deliver that information at the end of the month. And I know it's kind of interesting that we've seen a few people kind of cancel their founders or whatever the last few days with kind of the information and or misinformation. But and I would advise anybody who thinks they want a founders, we do have a waiting list. But if you want, send an email into to support@intellivision.com and put your name on the list. If you decide that that's something you want, at least get in line. It doesn't cost anything to get in line. So I will make that particular announcement. One of the things that you do when you go, and a lot of people say, hey, we left California. They're a Delaware corporation. That's what you do as a C Corp. We went from an LLC to a C Corp, and you file in Delaware. It makes it easier to take in investment dollars and to handle that tax-wise for people. And so that was one of the things that we did for the race. The other thing is that a lot of people have kind of focused on long-term debt. Well, we're a company that's been in business for over 3 years with no revenue. Of course, we've got debt, and that's pre-rev companies do accumulate debt, and it takes. Ask Microsoft how much they spent on their first Xbox that they put to bring to market, over $100 million. So, I think people read that we've raised 17 million. I think the answer is that people go, yeah, but they've got 7.2 million in long-term debt. Well, 80% of that debt is to the people that took into the profit sharing program from Republic. So that debt is not paid until it's a percentage of sales on the console, a fairly small percentage on the console, a bigger percentage on the software, and that debt is paid off over time as we sell. So, but in any kind of an investment campaign where you go out to unaccredited investors, you have to do two things. You have to sit there and list every obligation that fit into the debt column. Secondarily, you also have to sit there and warn and say every single risk under the sun, because you are going to an unaccredited investor. So by law, you're required, no matter what you believe or what you want to hype, and to tell you the truth, I'm not going to hype the company here because under SEC regulations, I can't. But you have to list all that. So, I saw one report where, we said we don't think we're going to ship a console. That's just not, we got over 50 people come in and work every day, working their butt off to ship a console. And nobody wants to ship the console more than we do. And then we'll also, when we come to time to address the fact that I'm CEO, Tommy's president, what we're doing there, I think we shouldn't hear from me. I think you should hear John Alvarado's perspective. I think, rather than me saying it's this or that, and John, I want to remind you, you do report to me before you say what you're doing. But,
yeah, I have more than one boss. I report to different people based on what area I'm working on. We all wear different hats at the company, and Tommy has worn the most of anybody. He's a workaholic and barely sleeps to get all the things done that he does. And he was doing the role of CEO and creative director, and he's a musician and game designer and all these things, just constantly going. And it's more than one person can do. And the CEO part was probably his least favorite part, because that's not his expertise in the business realm. He's more of a creative person with great credentials in creating games and creating products and music. So at a point, it was, he needed help there. and he's also had some personal challenges, which I won't go into in his life, that made it even more difficult. So we needed help there, and it was a question of, well, who can best fill that role and take that over so Tommy can focus on the other areas of his strengths. And like I was telling you beforehand, we asked for volunteers and everybody took one step back and Phil was left in front. So that's how he got the job.
I tell you, when you get older and you get slow, you just got to think quicker. And I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention.
Phil was the obvious choice with his background and his experience. He was the obvious choice, and both Tommy and Nick agreed that Phil was the man for the job, and we're happy to have him taking on those duties and being the executive who makes the final decision in the business area when someone has to make the call. But we all, from the start, Phil, Nick, Tommy have always taken input from everybody when trying to make decisions and come up with the best answers, and they'll listen to anyone who has an idea, so that process hasn't changed, but ultimately someone has to make the final call, right? When lots of times there's a consensus and everyone's, yes, this is the way to go. Sometimes there's disagreements and someone has to be the guy who says the buck stops here. And now that's Phil for business decisions, and for creative, it's Tommy. So
it's funny. It's funny. The other day I came up on something and I was pretty sure I was making the right decision. I pick up the phone and call John and says, "Hey, give me your thoughts on this. Shoot holes in my concept.
Right.
Tell me what I'm not seeing." And he gave me some pretty good points, and we adjusted a little bit because you can't see everything with one set of eyes. And we have so many talented people there at the company, incredible talent that we have at that company, that I would be a fool not to let them weigh in with their expertise, their experience, and what they've done in their career, their life as people, as experts in their field. I can't touch John's expertise in his field, but you know what? We can come to a consensus, and at the end of the day, it's like, what's best for Intellivision, which ultimately our goal is what's best for our consumers, what's best for the product. And there's no question it's been challenging. I can't say that every day is fun. I can say every day is challenging, and it's good to try to meet those challenges. We don't get them all done every day, but it doesn't mean we don't go right back at them the next day. And I don't think I've ever worked harder, but I've never worked with as good a team in my 40 years in the business. Overall strength of team, I've never been with a group of people this strong, this good, this, that have the capability of doing it. It doesn't mean I won't have to hold people to task of what do we need to do. I've got to be there. What can I do for you, John? What can I do for you, whomever, to help them complete their task successfully, so ultimately we can ship a system. And the good news is I can say I'm managing 7, 8 people, but they don't take a lot of management. It's just meeting with them. What are they going? What do they need? And how can I help them complete their goals and tasks? And they're pretty good at letting me know.
Yeah, I can confirm that. When Phil asked me what I need, I told him what I needed. And he does ask, and he does try to take away the obstacles so we can focus on our strength and get that job done without distraction. And it works. What Phil was saying about taking advantage of the talent that's there and getting input. It works the same on the creative side with Tommy. He always takes advantage of experience of like the Myke Dietz, Ed Schofield, and myself. We've been making games for decades, and we all work together to try to make these games as fun as they can be. And we're playing the games and coming up with ideas and trying things out. And sometimes I'll go prototype something to see if this controls would be better one way or the other, and we work with the developer to implement those.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask this, and I'm like, you know what? If John's coming on, because we got to ask you this when we saw you on when we talked to you on Retro Bros channel. And by the way, Peter, if you want to grab these couple, oh my God, they keep coming.
Yeah, let's. We got a couple more super chats from. Here's one from Bob C, $5 super chat. Potential investor here would like to know about an Agrawal loan that takes $100 per console?
That may be a better question for Nick, right?
I can answer it.
Oh,
Yep. He is a board member, and essentially, the way he put out a loan for the company to get certain things going and started, and there is a secondary method that we needed to put down as a risk factor for how that loan could be paid off if we couldn't pay it in a certain amount of time. He has no interest in taking money per console. As a board member, as a major shareholder, also on the books is a relatively high interest rate, which he's already said he would waive. It just has to go in the books as a risk factor. But he is one of the biggest supporters, probably put in either the most or second most amount of money of anybody. Again, it just has to be listed, but he's not going to sit there as
And he's an investor.
Investor and one of the largest shareholders, happens to be a board member. So again, some of the debts from the board itself, putting money right back into the company that essentially gets forgiven, goes into shares or whatever at some point. But in any risk factor, it has to be listed. That's a good question. I wasn't aware of that particular question. I wasn't the CEO at the time the deal was structured. I just happened to get clarification on that. And Nick could probably answer that in more detail, but at the end of the day, that's what it is.
cool. All right. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right,
Also
a couple
got a
more.
super chat from the Retro Bro for $5. Quick plug for Amigo After Dark this Saturday while we're over 300 viewers.
I put the
There you
link
have
in the
it.
chat. John is a great. John's a great guy. He is really, he's really brought a lot to the Amico community as far as, having a really fan-based channel. I'm proud that I've been able to work with him on Amico After Dark. He really does a great job, and I put his link in the chat. I'll put it in again when I get a moment. But John is good people, so. And then
And here's another super chat from DJC Game Studios, $5. I will plug my show as well. After Saturdays, Amigo After Dark, tune into Amigo Forever on Wednesdays on DJC Game
Oh my
Studios.
goodness, you
Love you all.
and DJC is part of the Gamers United Guild, so his channel is actually down below in the description. And so I've had a couple questions to John, since you, John, are here. So, and this is listed on the on the Start Engine. The hardware as it sits right now is ready to go, ready to ship.
Yes.
Finalized. FCC, all the nonsense California has to jump you through.
Right.
You could, if all things were the way you wanted to do, you could start shipping these.
Yes.
Pending manufacturing, obviously.
Right.
So,
Ordering
right
the parts
now,
and all that stuff.
So right now it's in manufacturing that's where the struggle is, correct?
Correct. You have to, in this day and age, it's harder to actually get the parts. You used to be able to get bids, and those would be good for a certain amount of time and stuff. Now it's like you have to put the money down to get the parts, and then they try to find them. You have to put a deposit down, and so it's much more difficult to. You have to be ready to go with the money immediately when you're going to start ordering those parts, and you have to try to find the parts. So it's a different game now, and that's the challenge.
So has a factory test run been done, or not yet? Not till you have all the parts and stuff, or?
Well, it's in development. I mean, we've been developing the factory pipeline, both from the software point of view, from the cloud, and the programs that we use on the line, and how it's going to be set up. That's all been in development, and we're setting up the first one, in-house to run it through all the steps and make sure it works, and doing a small run before it goes to like a manufacturing location. So we had to take it a tier at a time, right?
Sure. And from a game standpoint, I know on Sunday, we said that, and John also said this on Saturday. John Retro Bros said So far, we have about 15 completed games ready to go. Obviously, the 6 pack-ins, which Tommy has still not said what that 6 pack-in is.
Right.
Any want to break any news tonight?
I'm not touching that one. That's for later.
Well, we know what it is.
Phil wasn't even listening. Phil was like, I don't know. I'm just going to go over here and type a text.
That's John and Tommy's department. Yeah, I trust them implicitly.
No, so I'm assuming it's going to be a surprise. Gatoroos, I can answer the question you just asked. If a firmware update is needed, can a user do that after a seat? We talked about that on Sunday. You can. This thing will take. Well, why am I answering? You're here, John. This thing will take firmware updates afterwards, right?
You want to be CEO for a few days? Go ahead. No problem. I'll go ahead and keep doing emails. So.
Yes, absolutely. The console has the ability to update firmware over the air. And so that'll be important for any, for updates. Well, we definitely have plans for the future to keep improving the console. So those will come in updates over the air.
Great.
Quick question, Mike. You said Guido is here. Who is Guido?
Oh, Guido. Guido is wonderful. Guido is one of the highly experienced veterans that's working for us in the firmware department, working on the firmware for the controller, right?
Oh, nice.
So this has to be programmed, and it's programmed at a very low level, and he has the experience to do that, and he's been developing that. He started not long after I started, so he's been there a while and developing all the software that makes the magic happen on the actual screen here. And Guido is great.
I went to Interplay in 1990, and I think Guido joined us. He could probably correct me. I think 94, 95. And we felt like we got somebody special with his background and history already in Europe for what he did as a game maker, designer, programmer. So when I first met Guido back, that many years ago, 25 years ago, I already thought I was meeting somebody who in our business was a legend. So we're very, very fortunate to have that level of talent. And we kind of have that level of talent through a lot of different areas, or you couldn't build a console from scratch with 50 to 60 people without this level of talent. So, and again, anybody who thinks it's a one-man band, Tommy will be the first to admit it's not. Where you got to credit Tommy for is assembling the level of talent.
Yeah,
I don't know that many people could have done what Tommy did in assembling the level of talent. And the people who've worked with Tommy directly, the respect we've all had for him and working with him, again, different people I know have different opinions or whatever, but when you know him personally and work with him, it's a different scenario, different story, as most of the people that have met Tommy can attest to.
Yeah, but, and I want to give a shout out to Gabe Van, who's the OS senior firmware designer. So he works on the firmware for the OS and helps on the hand controller as well.
First names only, John.
Yeah, sorry, Gabe. I said I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Gabe's. And so he's amazing and so much experience, works so hard. So I definitely want to give a shout out to him. And I mentioned earlier that my childhood friend, Greg Marquez, who's a veteran of the video game industry, is also here with us at Intellivision, working with Guido on the hand controller as well. So shout out to Greg as well. I think I said his name again. Darn it, I'm
Greg M. You said Greg M.
Yeah.
At least they can screw up Marquez. I don't think they can screw up Adam. That's pretty easy to spell.
Well,
and and I'll mention one more person, Kevin, and I won't say his last name, who also works is working with on the Android side of the job.
Just say Kevin A. No relation.
Kevin A. No relation. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and making the glue between the game software and the OS is what he does.
Oh. By the way, I have Retrobro up here crashing and burning in Moon Patrol, if anybody's wondering.
Awesome.
So at least you got the sound cut. At least you got the sound cut off. I've heard him play games before and some of the language. So thank God.
Well, when emotions are
Peter.
running high, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Especially when you're
Well,
crashing.
that's what we do as gamers, though, right? That's part of our frustration. So
Yeah.
So.
Try playing Halo with the group of us. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, we have a few super chats. One by J Dorsey 5150 for $4.99. He says Apple stole his penny. Thank you for that. We got super chat from Geeks with Cash for $20. Glad you guys are getting to clear the air with Phil. Hi, Phil. Hey, John.
hey guys, hey John, hey guys,
Nick.
hey, that was that Nick or Geeks?
That's Nick.
Hey,
That's Nick.
That's Nick.
One of my favorites, man. Nick is so good, and guys, Nick is also the Geeks with Cash is also Gamers United Guild. He's down in the chat below. You want to see some great streams where you want to talk about rage, but also some really good informational stuff. Nick is one of the best. We got another one.
And then we have another one from Smash JT for another $20 super chat. Thanks for putting this together, Myke.
Oh, thank Phil and John for agreeing to come on.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, John, when we last saw video, you guys were working on kind of a new mechanic for cornhole, right? You guys did a video on it. You and Tommy were showing
That's right.
kind of some of the stuff, and the idea
We showed
was
a prototype.
right. So, did that prototype make it into the game?
Yes, it did. We figured out what we wanted to do is in terms of the mechanics of setting up your throw, and we structured that so that it's easy to play. You don't have to do anything special. You can just go up and throw because the parameters are set up for you in a sensible way. But if you want to do a little more fancy kind of a throw at a different angle, different height, or come in sliding low and fast, you can adjust those things. And that was what we were playing with. Giving the player a little more control over their throw, more like you would in a real cornhole game, because there's strategy to it. You're not just always trying to sink it in the hole. Sometimes you're trying to knock the other bags off, and you might want to come at a certain angle or come in fast to slide and brush them off. So we added that element into the game, and we prototyped that, got it working. We're happy with it, and then, like I said, we worked with the developers. We helped them out in these ways. We didn't want to put them through all those paces, and we wanted to have a quicker turnaround time, because sometimes we could have done that by having the developer do that work and then send it back to us a week later, and we say, well, it's not quite what we want to do this way, so it's a slower turnaround. So sometimes we just bring those that searching in-house as far as searching for how this is going to work, and we have a quick iteration. We figure it out, then we say, this is how we want to do it. Here's the prototype. Can you put that into the game? They do it, and then it works, and we're all happy. So that's definitely in the game, and the motion control works great. We iterated on that as well, like how the data is being analyzed. Once we had a prototype in-house, we could visualize the data and see what is the best way to grab the information we want out of it. So overall, it totally improved that process.
And again, it kind of needs to pass that fun factor for us. And when we realized we didn't think it was the experience that we wanted to deliver to the marketplace, we reworked it. I mean, it's not that we couldn't have just been done, but we weren't happy with what we thought the playability was. And most people would understand that if it was a game we were selling and it generated revenue. This was a pack-in or a dedication to our customer. So hats off to Tommy and John and those guys. Maybe a little bit to my consternation, I'm spending too much time on a product that wasn't creating revenue. Made my point, John. But again, it's our dedication to our customer base. So,
right, but ultimately, it does create revenue because people love the console with the games that come with
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell their friends. More sales.
You convinced me of that. Okay, got it. You don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll shout out to Connor, and I won't say his last name, is one of my programming staff, one of my young guys that's working here. I have like a team of like 5 people and working on various aspects, and he took the lead on that prototype and working out the math of it. He's a math genius. So shout out to Connor for that. Connor on Cornhole.
Nice. Connor on Cornhole. So,
quick shout out to Classic Gaming Fun. Brother Pete for the $20 Canadian super chat. Amigo in 2022. Now I have to start planning my 30 nights of Amigo launch streams now with the missus. Go team Intellivision, go.
Oh, I've actually talked. Oh, so are the leaderboards going to be ready, John, for launch?
Well, we have local leaderboards for launch.
Right.
Yes, those work.
Okay.
We
So-
are pushing online leaderboards to post-launch.
Cool. So the reason I ask is because one of the things that, so in the Gamers United Guild, which is for those who in the chat who don't know, the Gamers United Guild, which encompasses a number of sites that you see down below, are like-minded gamers, positive, fun gaming channels, spans Xbox, retro, PlayStation, us that does everything. There are a number of us within the guild sites who all have pre-orders of the Amicos, Go Game Go, Papa Pete, Classy Gaming Fun. Most of us are Founders Editions, Peter and I. We're going to be working on doing some leaderboard contests, within the guild to kind of, just a little friendly competition kind of thing. So,
Awesome.
But a couple people in the chat have asked about the finished games. And so just to recap, for what we talked about Sunday, and we just mentioned it, the 6 packing games are done, and the 8 collector's edition games, in which are over on my shelf there, they are done too, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then there was one more that we announced on Saturday, that John announced on Saturday. It kind of came as a surprise to us, Flying Tigers. And that's going to be a fun game. I don't know. I think I have some Flying Tigers footage here because I've shown this to many people. Let me see if I've got it. But I mean, we're gonna have 14 games out of launch. Just a rough ballpark, and if you can't really say it's okay, but how many games do you think you'll have kind of released by year's end? So, we get through the initial 14 games. We want another set of games to play.
6 billion games.
So, we look at things objectively here, and I know that's been tough on, out there in the ether. We try to, Peter, Chris, and I try to take things from a little more of an objective look. COVID has not been kind to a lot of companies. I mean, even places, even like the Steam Deck, the Evercade Versus, there are a lot of things that got delayed. So, we are cognizant for it. I know people have, and this is where I'll kind of go out on my own a little bit and not speak for the site, just speak for me. I understand, like, for me, when it gets here, it gets here. Do I want it sooner than later? Of course. Have I wanted it for 2 years, Phil and John? Am I excited that we're going to hear when it's coming by the end of the month? Hell yes, because I'm excited for it. My son is excited for it. I've got multiple people ready for this. But knowing what the reality of the situation is, I can also wait. Like, it was $100, and just so people, and let's get this out too. For whatever reason, if any of the risk disclosure stuff were to come true, right? People that pre-ordered could still get their deposit back, correct? At any time, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you've put down $100 and you're thinking about canceling your Founders pre-order because you don't think it's coming out, and guys, I get that. I totally get that, and I understand consternation. Obviously, these guys here understand that too. That's why they're here tonight, and that's why they're working hard to get the system out. I don't see a reason to cancel your pre-order if you know at any point you can get your deposit back. Hold off. Because if you don't...
I would tell you $100 probably means more to some than others.
I would agree. And I'm...
So, I mean, I hate to sit there and take the other side, but
Yeah.
in reality, I don't begrudge somebody.
Absolutely.
I think that they know what their personal needs are. Why should that piss me off or whatever? I get it. There's people waiting to take those units. Right now we have the waiting list. It will create an opportunity for a few more people, but to wait and see what we deliver. Some of you guys have already played it. You kind of know what you're getting. You understand the controller. People still criticize the controller because they haven't played it, or they're just not a fan of that kind of controller. For the type of games we're doing and what we're doing, this controller is a difference maker. No question about it. But people have a right to not like that controller. I don't know why they don't like us, but that's up to that's their prerogative, right?
And even if they like the game, even if they're looking forward to it, they might have other short-term cash flow needs and decide that they need that $100 back, and that's fine. Like Phil said, it creates an opportunity for someone else who missed the boat initially to get in, and that's why we gave them that guarantee so that they could feel comfortable doing it, and if necessary, they could get it back. That's totally fine.
Yeah. And again, that's up to them. That's not up to us. It's their buying decision or whatever.
And right. And let me be clear. I'm not saying that. Because obviously there are people that have. What I'm saying is that if you are in that position where you're doing it because you are concerned, I would hold on, because one of two things is going to happen. Let's be honest. One of two things here is going to happen. It's either going to come out or it's not. There's no gray area with this. It either comes out or it doesn't. If you're holding on to the pre-order, and it comes out, which it's going to come out, as you said, Phil, well, then you're going to get the console and you're going to enjoy it. If it doesn't, you're going to get your money back. So unless you, in the situation that you're talking about, which I totally understand, and I don't begrudge either, it's not my money, hold on to it. What's the worst that could happen?
Just to be clear, we have the investment campaign running now. And so I can't guarantee anything. If you read that, there is a risk that the system doesn't come out. Certainly not our intent, but I can't make promises via SEC regulations, period. So our goal and our dedication to every employee walking in that office every single day is to deliver a system, and in 2 weeks we will give a date. That's all I'll say.
Oh, that is the 24th,
again,
ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying.
It's not in 2 weeks, end of February. You got to remember, I'm taking a week. I'm taking a week off for my birthday, so it's going to be the 31st of February.
That's well, good for you, because you know what? Cyrus wanted to know if you guys are taking care of yourselves, right? So, I mean, there's got to be a little. I know you're kind of in crunch time, but you gotta take some time to relax and keep the mental aspect up. I can understand.
I'll give you an example. I'm on the East Coast right now. I called John at 11 o'clock my time last night. It's 8 o'clock his time. I said, John, I hate to bother your dinner. He says, I'm in the office still.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty. Again, I've never worked with not only a more talented but a more dedicated team to one goal. We have one goal as a company, and that is to deliver an incredible experience to our dedicated fan base and beyond. And we'll start there, and we'll expand and go after our target demographic. We'll deliver content across the board to gamers in 5 different categories. And at companies meetings, I tell everybody, a lot of people are kind of real hard on us, and we're late, and we've gone through this, and it's COVID, so no excuses. I says, each and every one of you, when you go home tonight, can be proud that we're doing something to make a difference in people's lives and families' lives. And you should be proud of that. And John, you've heard me say that at a lot of company meetings.
Yeah.
And no matter what we hear out there, and I don't really hear it, every employee we've got, the dedication they have to building this experience, they should be very proud of themselves, and I'm proud of them.
And it's what motivates us. It's why I'm doing this and why I work late, to bring something good into the world. We think this is going to make a positive difference with families and kids and parents having more time together and enjoying each other's company. That means a lot to me, and that's why I'm here. But to answer your question, I mean, we do try to take care of ourselves and just take care of our health. We're working hard, but you know, I go jogging to stay in shape and try to eat well, and I encourage my team to do the same. And we talk about getting enough sleep and all that, because we need to make sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can keep at it and put in the hours and get this product out. So. And
I try to ride my bike every single day. I'm not a young man anymore, but I have that drive. I have that work ethic, and I need to keep physically fit as well to be both physically and mentally strong. And John motivates me every day with his running and everything like that. Sometimes I feel guilty because I want to meet earlier in the morning. Did you get to run in, John, or whatever? But John and I have our own rhythm and cadence and how we work together. He has his own rhythm and cadence with Tommy. Like he says, there aren't bosses, there's teams, and we work together. So,
except they all report to you.
Well, it just means that I'm going to get in hot water first. So honestly, report that's an organizational word. They have the experience, and I trust them. And as long as they tell me what their objectives are, I tell them what our goals are, and they're meeting their objectives. There's not a lot of management to it. It's, what do you need? John says, I need this by this person by here. I need this here. I need to get this done. I've got to figure out where I've got something that I need to cut out so I can give him what he needs. So my job is really to kind of keep them away from everything going on in the outside world so they can focus on what they do really, really, really well. So I think that's what a good leader is supposed to do. I read it in the book somewhere, that you kind of need to keep that shit away so people can focus on their work and what they're doing and their job. And I might add their passion. We have a lot of passionate people. Tommy's passionate, but everybody has a lot of pride in what they do at the company. And I couldn't be more honored to work with the incredible talent we have.
So, and you know, look, I think people forget that there's almost 50 people there that are working on this. So it's not just everybody who is in, I mean, everybody who is invested, you know, there's a stake in there, and they are important people to you guys from getting this thing out. And you know, you can't discount anybody who's invested in the company, but you got to keep in mind that there are really, if this does not succeed, which I believe it will, but if it doesn't, it's not just you and John and Tommy that are, you know, that affects. It's all the people who are putting that time in, and I think people lose sight of that as we go through some of this. You know, some of what you see on the internet and stuff, that I think people lose sight of that.
Again, everybody can form their own opinion. I get that. We're delayed. It's been delayed. We could sit there and say it's this, that, and the other. They don't really care. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we want to ship a great experience. We want to ship it sooner than later. We want it to be and live up to expectation. We want to build a sustainable business so more people can enjoy it over time. And I mean, I'm not going to do this forever. I'm not the youngest guy in the world, but I've got a lot of pride in making this happen. I've got an incredible number of friends in the industry, industry leaders or whatever, who've all been saying, "Hey, quite the challenge, Phil, but you know, we think you can do it. What can I do to help?"
Yeah, and I feel like there's a force of people that are behind us and supporting us, that we are dedicated to, getting this product out there for them. And I want to take a moment to thank all the people that send us emails of support, because you see all the critics on the internet and in the Reddits and things like that, and we see those messages, but people who support us aren't on those forums. They email us privately. They tell us about their experience with Intellivision growing up and how much they're looking forward to this console. And we always, our support team shares those with us in our Slack channel, internal Slack channel, and so that we can see that people are behind us. And that really helps a lot. We really appreciate that, seeing those messages, and thank you to all the people that send those messages to us. We really enjoy reading them, and it puts more gas in our tanks.
Yeah, and guys, let's put this to bed now, because I'm sure Phil knows this better than anybody. I know this better than anybody. It's the year 2022. You guys know that there is we're on Skype. There is Teams. I am quite sure that Phil Adam is not turning his phone off for an entire week and going on vacation for his birthday. There are such things as working vacations, and I am sure Phil is not going to leave.
I'm actually will be working on my birthday and every weekend, as I have since I don't know when. So there is, even when I went overseas for Christmas with and I won't say where, but with my wife, is at the 3 weeks in AM my time stuff. Didn't matter.
I've been, I'm in IT, right? I'm an IT guy.
Yep.
I do get to go on vacation. I have never gone on vacation without my laptop, my phone. My CEO has called me many a times. It's not like the old days. So guys, I get your concern, but as we were just talking about, there's the other people there that are going to continue to keep working on this. And if Phil is needed, I am quite sure John can pick up the phone, and Tommy can pick up the phone, and Nick can pick up the phone. So
Phil's intent is to.
I can call Phil anytime. He's made that very clear, and I've taken him up on it from time to time if I have something I need to talk to him about.
That's great. So I want to pivot a little bit. You guys have been so gracious. I cannot thank you enough for being here tonight. And again, we've been dipping in and out of the 400 range in the place tonight. I want to just say thank you to everybody who is watching. This is a wonderful night, and I do want to say thank you.
I need to add one. Yeah, I want to add one point. John may touch on it. We didn't really hit on maybe the main purpose we came on. Tommy has not left the company. He is the founder. He is the president. He is working his butt off. I've just taken the stress of the business decisions away, and that falls into my category. I don't touch creative, although I do a lot of the business negotiations for whether it be development, or I'll work with John or Jason or whoever on the biz dev. I work with the sales team on who our distributors are and our relationships there. But when it comes to the creative, the content, the hardware, that's John, Tommy, his team working their butt off. And Tommy asks for my advice or where we want to go and on that side. And just like I talk to Tommy every day, and he'll give me his thoughts on the business side, but he defers to me. So we have a good working relationship. But I am focused on everything it takes to bring a product to market. Tommy's working on creating an experience that everybody will enjoy. It's real simple. John, how does that work for you?
That works great. We've like Myke Dietz and I work closely with Tommy on the creative side, and we just, you know, marvel at how much he was doing before. But it's going to be great to have more of his time, you know, on the creative side and work with him more closely. It's I've never seen anyone work harder than Tommy, so that's going to continue. It's just going to be more focused now.
I just don't know that we really touched that. I just thought we'd hit that quickly because,
Absolutely.
you know, there's been his passion may be too much for some people. He is so passionate about it. He's so driven, and I when you work with him, you love it. I guess if you're not there day to day, I don't get it. But you know what? Again, I don't begrudge people their opinions. Again, I don't begrudge people because they hear things from so many different sources. I don't quite get all the negativity about us. I get some of the negativity on the delays and this kind of thing. I don't get the out and out made up stuff. I don't. For the life of me, when people claim that they have an inside the information and they don't, and they just make stuff up, and then they read what somebody else wrote, and that becomes a fact, and then they write it, and then somebody else writes it, and so that just kind of goes. That's a little frustrating, but what can you do? You just go to work every day, you bust
And you put the product out.
to build
And you put the product
great
out.
experience. Absolutely. And we are dedicated to do that. And we really thank you for the opportunity to talk to you guys tonight. You know, I'm sure there'll be other tough questions. There's certain things we just can't deal with right now because of SEC regulations and what we're going through. We'll continue to make it clear as we can, but you'll get answers when to your questions when we have answers. We spent a lot of time, Nick spent a lot of time answering things on both Start Engine. We have, at best, we should say trolls. We have people dedicated to trying to break in to make sure we don't raise capital or kind of get people. I don't get why that's somebody's life, but it's a toxic world. The internet is a different place.
Oh yeah.
Different environment. I get it, but all we can do is our job, our dedication, and I can tell you it's never wavered. It doesn't waver for me for 1 second. Do I look at this as, you know, some of my friends said, wow, what did you get yourself into? I says, challenges. I love challenges. John's the same way. Again, if this job were easy, anybody could do it.
Oh,
and I would like anybody, and I'd like anybody to do it. Please raise your hand.
Take my CEO job, please.
I will. I don't have as much time for social media to answer every question. I'm working 14 to 16 hours a day on doing everything I can to get this come out. We'll answer the best we can. We will try to update our FAQ to deal with some of the things that are going on right now. We just want to make sure we do it correctly, and so that information will be there to answer people's questions. Again, if you've decided that it's time to fail, that's your prerogative.
Yeah, some of that information is Nick has been answering in the comments already, but it's, you know, they're buried in answers and replies and things, so we want to organize it and put it somewhere where it's easy to access.
Make it easy to get to. So again, and again, you're going to get it, you know, from a financial standpoint, from the operational standpoint, from the standpoint that this is under, you know, we're now a C Corp. We're filing through a capital raise, and that's why you see all the risk factors limited, because it's required. You really don't have any choice. You have to say all these are risk factors.
Right.
It's an obligation you have to do that. And again, people can read into it whatever they want, but if they go back and look at all the other companies that did, they just see it's pretty.
You know what it reminds me of is when you see a pharmaceutical product advertised on TV and all the, you know, they highlight all the benefits, but then they have that part at the end where they say all the bad things that could happen to you. They have to disclose all those things, right? And if you just
Right.
looked at those, you're never going to take any medicine. So you have to, understand that those risks are small, but they have to say them. Same thing when you do a filing for non-accredited investors.
And an invest into a pre-rev company is going to be a risk.
Yeah.
Nobody's sitting there saying it's not. At least at this point, we've been out there. People have played the system. You've got that. That's all I do. I'm not promoting whether you should or shouldn't. I'm just stating the facts.
Yep.
And again,
and as you can see here, guys, me and that's my son Seth, we've laid hands on this thing. One of the reasons that, that I believe in
he's a cute kid. He's a cute kid. Is he adopted?
Wow. So this is it's been fun having John and Phil on. This will be the last time we'll have Phil Adam on our show. But he is excited, and I'll show you another one because at Crayola,
honest to God, he's a good-looking kid. He looks exactly like his father. I apologize if I offended you.
My other son, and I'll show him here. My 7-year-old came to Crayola too. That's him in the orange shirt. And if you look at his face while he's playing Shark, and this is a kid like Seth who plays Roblox. He plays, God help me, Five Nights at Freddy's. He plays these crazy games on his Switch. He's got the whole Switch, the Mario Kart Live thing where he sets the whole thing up in the house, which is really cool. But look at his face just playing Shark. And that, people are the people that I see them out on social media. Why would you spend money on this? Why would you buy this? You can get games on the Switch. You can get games here. Yes, you can. And there's no doubt that the Switch, I've got an Xbox Series X and a PS5 over there. I was just playing Sifu the other night. This is a different experience for a different crowd. But then there's games like Astro Smash and Rigid Force Redux and Dynablaster that appeals to me. But watching Spencer and Seth play it that weekend, that was special for me. And there's my other son, Jacob.
It's special. It's special for us too. Watching families enjoy this for the first time. The first time we got out in the public was so heartwarming and emotionally lifting to us, because this is what we've been working towards, to allow people to have this experience together, like kids and parents playing together, and to see it happening and working and them enjoying themselves is just amazing. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, and just to get that look on people's faces, I saw this look on a lot of kids that day. And that's what it's all about. And it just dawned on me that Scott Barrett is the one working on Bomb Squad, and he's in our chat. Holy crap.
Yeah, he is.
There's been a couple of other Intellivision folks that have popped in, and I have not been as good a detective tonight figuring out who they are. Peter, before I know that their time is limited, and they went way over what I thought.
And I think right now is a good point for my question, because we see those kids, they're having fun, right? But in the end of the day, when they go with whoever to the store, or they look online on the comfort from their homes, and they look at other consoles, look at the Amigo, and there's the price. What we've heard so far is that the price is relatively high.
It's
and
for two very incredible controllers with a high cost of goods, with a console, with 6-packing games, and games that are coming out digitally for $10 or under initially. They could rise to 12, 14, 20 for maybe a license. If people got confused when I mentioned AAA the other day. AAA games are AAA for the Amico. So something that would be a high-end game. It's not going to compete with a $40 million developed AAA Halo or whatever, but it is one of are more dedicated long-term play games that we put a lot of money into licensing fees. So I did want to kind of make that clear. I know you want to ask about price point at 249. I even mentioned the other day that the price.
Right. Well,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
also, I mean, I know you get a lot bang for the money, but I mean, going back to like the Xbox One, it came with a Kinect, and it was $100 more than the PlayStation 4, and people like they didn't see like, hey, this has more value or not. They looked at the price and kind of balked at the at the price for
Wii
the
was one of the highest
Xbox
priced
One.
systems. Yeah, the Wii was one of the highest priced systems in its day and sold over 100 million units. It was a different market, a different thing. Our target market demographics are the family. Our market's going to dictate our price point. We could sit there and say we're going to raise the price point, drop the price point. I can't drop the price point now because my cost of goods are too high. You know, and unless I can manufacture 1 million of these, I can't get my costs down, and I can't. We're too small a company to do that. We can.
And
sit
also,
there
like
and say,
your software is like low in compared with the other ones, because they make the money on on the software part.
Huge margin on the software. I've got to get my software margins up a little bit, or I can't get into retail because I have to hold a margin. So that's part of the rationale behind it. It doesn't mean that we're going to gouge people. It doesn't mean we're going to $50 software. You know, it means that we're potentially going a little higher, not much. I said 50 to 100%. If you multiply that times $9.99, that's $15 to $20. Didn't say all games would go there. Educational games will probably remain low. But some titles, if we feel they deliver the experience and the value, we will do that. It's also what takes care of some of our long-term debt to Republic who share in our revenue, and that helps us get rid of that quicker. So there's a lot of rationale behind it, but the marketplace will dictate whether we are successful or not at a price point. If we priced it at $249 and units set on the shelf, I can tell you I've got far more demand than what I can produce initially. Once we catch up, the marketplace will make a determination whether we're offering an experience that is what we're asking for it. And so we've got to live up to that experience. That's our dedication. And, for right now, it's somebody said the other day, I'm going to run into GameStop and grab one. They're still at $249 or $299 for the purple or whatever. That's correct information. And if somebody puts themselves on the list for a Founders Edition right now and they becomes available, it's still at that price point. By the time we go to retail, I've got to deal with retail margin, distribution margin, and this company isn't sustainable at a loss for every system. I can tell you that. And again, people can get upset with me for saying that, but you guys have asked for what reality is and what the truth is, and that is what it is. So I'm not going to tell you something different.
I'd like to address Peter's question, though, that he started out asking if the kid wants this, and they're relatively the same price, and should he get the Switch or should he get the Amico? And he's probably going to want both, but the decision is going to be the parents deciding what to buy, right? The kid doesn't necessarily buying it for himself, so he's going to want both. And the parent, it's in their mind, what are they buying this for? Are they buying a toy to let their kid go away and do something while they are busy doing other stuff, or are they wanting to buy something that they can have a family experience with and have more time with their kids? If that's what they want, then the Amico is.
So it's more like a family. Yeah. If they look at it from a family purchase, then definitely the Amico is is king. Although Nintendo just announced this week that they're coming out with the Switch Sports, like what they had, like the Wii Sports, like one of the most popular games on the Wii. That basically, most people had only one game, and that was.
And families will enjoy those games as well on the Switch or on other platforms that meet that kind of criteria. But the Amico is focused totally on that. So they're going to want an Amico too, if that's what they're looking for as an experience with their family.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, I'm just, I'm really hoping, because, I believe in this product. I really hope that,
Thank you.
You nail the market and people are excited for it. But, it's.
Well, again, if people have faith, stay, get the system, will grow. There's no question that there's an Amico Sports product in the planning cycle. I won't say more than that. We'd be fools not to, because that was a big part of the success of the Wii, was grandma playing the demo of bowling. So, we have X number of bandwidth with 50 to 60 people. We can't put out 100 products at one time. Somebody says, well, why don't you have this company or that company put out product? I'm not sure why Activision or Take-Two, good friend of mine over there, or whatever. You're not going to put a lot of money in developing product for a system that has a 0 installed base. We will prove our value, our worth. In some cases, we'll look at how we combine working with some of these people, and we are talking to some of these people. But with sales, with success, that market expands. So I'm not saying that forever everything will be published by Intellivision, but we need just a compelling experience out there that other publishers get excited about. And I've had a lot of those discussions, and they really would like to see this be successful.
And I think we do too,
Yeah.
as Peter said.
Absolutely.
Again, there's an aspect. Peter and I have families, so the family aspect appeals to us. It's the joy of being an older gamer, right? And the joy of like I said, one of the great things that you guys have done is you've gotten the product out to let people play in Texas, in Utah, up in Pennsylvania, in California, and it's given people, like, it's given me a chance to touch it. And honestly, I know a few, it's like, hey, I want to see what it is I've been looking at for 2 years. Tommy did a great job. I don't know if you know this, Phil, but the first time I heard of the Amico, Tommy, and I got to speak to. I need to show a picture because there's something else out there, and I want to address it myself. And you'll appreciate this, I think. Tommy's been out there a lot, right? We all know that. And we all know that he has, for reasons I just don't understand, has been more polarizing than I can possibly understand as far as opinions of him out on the internet, right? But let me find this picture. I don't know a guy that I have met. First off, I've idolized the guy for a long time because I'm a musician, right? I'm a keyboard player. I have a band. To even know, Tommy has said Mike's my friend. Yeah, you have to understand how that makes me feel. And so when I met him for real, we've talked online, we've talked on, here and there, we've talked about Intellivision. But to meet him, when my son met him, Seth's autistic. He's on the spectrum. He's very high functioning. He's a great, wonderful kid, but he has his issues. One of his issues, and I've told this story before, one of his issues is he'll walk up to people and say, hi. And you just say, hi, Seth, how you doing? And he goes, good. And he turns around and he walks off and does his own thing. Whenever I walk up the stairs and he's sitting on the couch, he just goes, hi. And you just go, hey, Seth. And and he goes back to what he's doing. Seth did that to Tommy like 5 or 6 times during Crayola. And once or twice at John's house the night before when we had our kind of pre-party. And every single time, Tommy he came up, said, hi, Tommy. Tommy looked over, said, hey, Seth, how's it going, buddy? Good. cool. And then Seth would turn around and do his thing. Not once, even in a crowded room, did Tommy ever like not pay attention to Seth, knowing that he had other things to do in the room, and just treated everybody like that, but treated him like that. And the picture you're seeing here, when we got to Crayola that morning, and John will, Retro Bro will tell you if he's still in the chat, Tommy pulled Seth aside, like specifically, he said, "Come here, I got something for you." And he went over to his bag and he said, "Your dad doesn't even have this, and he's going to be really jealous of you." And he pulled out this Video Games Live Backstage Pass, and he gave it to Seth, and he said, "If we ever do a concert again," and he started to chuckle, he said, "If your dad brings you to a Video Games Live concert in the future, you wear that, and then he'll have to stay behind the door while you come in with me and meet all these cool people." And then they took a picture. I mean, this is what this man is, and I wish that people saw the guy that I saw. I did a 2.5-hour podcast with him that was a music podcast. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll shoot you the link, Phil, so you guys can see it. We talked music. We talked about the old days of music. I brought a keyboard over here. I was playing his stuff for him. It was really cool. And we just had a conversation about music. This is the kind of guy he is. And one of the reasons that he sold me on this product was his energy and his passion, and just the fact that he loves being around the people. He loves talking to people. And Dreadpool, yeah, he was standing right there. It happened right in front of his face. This is what Tommy is. And without him, I'll be honest, and I'll say this is me talking. Not NLG, this is me talking. I don't think Intellivision is where it is right now, and getting ready to launch this product and getting ready to be and getting you guys in the right positions to do the things you need to do without him. I don't think the Amico even exists without him. And no deference to you guys. You guys are, John, you are the heart and soul of the hardware. And you know, I've seen so many videos of you making the controllers and doing stuff, and you know, you are a big part of it. I just don't know if it's there without Tommy.
Yeah, you're right. I'm more on the software side. We have guys that do firmware. We have guys that focus on hardware. I don't want to take their credit away, for sure. We have guys in all the different departments, but you're absolutely right, and I agree with you 100%. None of this would happen without Tommy.
Yeah.
Without question, he's the inspirational leader of the company. He is. It didn't happen without him. It didn't happen without his vision, without his passion, without wanting to be a difference maker, to make a difference in the world and families, and you know, he's a very unique individual. With his passion, his dedication, nonstop work ethic. I'm just happy to free up a little of his time, and some of Nick's. Nick has taken on a huge burden. We don't say enough about Nick and what he does operationally, and the kind of a cornerstone. He and Tommy are very, very different people, and have had a very good partnership. And for me to come in and kind of lessen the burden for both of them is a real sense of pride for me. You know, to make their life a little bit easier. And whether it's going on the firing line, it's not a matter of going on the firing line. It's to come out and be the utility to help get the product out the door, to be very straightforward about it. I'm not going to be a Tommy. I'm not going to be on social media every day answering this question and that question or whatever. Uncanny amount of time that he spends on it. I need to dedicate my time and focus on launching a great experience, launching, not developing. That's John. That's our incredible team. I get to be a representative of all this talent in bringing it to market, and then work with marketing on how we can expand on that, how we can broaden that consumer base, and how we fit as a second or third console or in a family. It was a great letter I got today. I had decided that it's too toxic. I don't want video games in my house. I want the Amico. I think that is perfect for my family. I was really touched by that. And those are who we're doing this for. It gave me a really good buzz and a good feeling. And that's my drug of choice of building and help being part of a team that delivers something that people have fun with and brings families together. John, I'm sure would say the same thing. I'll let him say it. I won't even talk for him.
Well, yeah, I agree. I just want to say that we wouldn't be here without Tommy, but Tommy couldn't do this by himself either, and he got the right people in place. And I want to echo your sentiment about Nick and how hard he works and his dedication to what we're doing. He's invested money and time, and he does all the work that I consider not fun. And well, we get to do the work that I think is fun, like developing games. And so we couldn't do this without him supporting the structure of the company, making sure people get paid and all that, and making involved in these business decisions and doing the hard task of answering these questions that people have about the filings and the financials and all that. That's a lot of work and a lot of stress, and I truly appreciate Nick for doing all of that.
Yeah, and I will tell you also, hand to Hashem, Phil, what you experienced. I had a conversation with somebody at a mom at my synagogue last week. 2 weeks ago. We were going over there to hang out, and they've got a couple young kids. One of them is 4. One of them is my youngest, Spencer's age, and we were talking about games, and she said, I'm kind of really dreading. He's already, my youngest is talking about video games. I'm dreading getting him something because I hear stories about Roblox, and trust me, there are stories about Roblox. And I just don't want to make this call. And I literally said to her, I think I know a console for you. And I showed this to Tommy. I texted her when you guys dropped this trailer. That's why I wanted to bring it back up. The minute you guys dropped this trailer, I texted her and I said, I wanted you to see this. Remember that console I was telling you about? And I told her, I said, at some point I'm going to get it probably before it hits retail shelves. I said, when I get it, I want you, I'll either bring it to you, you bring the kids over, and I'll let you play it, and you can see for yourself. And we kind of talked about it. So there are people out there, and they're not watching YouTube videos. They're not watching. They're not on Twitter. They're just out there, and that seems to be the market you guys are targeting, and that's a huge market, a big market that I think people are underestimating.
And again, if we deliver that experience that people can feel, as we grow in revenue, we'll be able to market and expand that market. But you gotta crawl before you walk, before you run, and that's really the approach we're taking. We truly appreciate the dedication and a lot of patience that people have shown us. I understand that patience running thin or out. It's been a long time. We've been through unprecedented times the last 2 years, and I'm not going to offer excuses. I'm not going to go any deeper than that, but we are doing everything in our power to deliver on that experience. And we appreciate all your thoughts, your opinions. It's not for everybody. We get it. And it might not be for the hardcore gamer that plays only by themselves, but when people have families, friends, board game night or whatever, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of the game designers we talk to love the fact that they have 2 more screens of information to deliver new concepts and new designs. And I've talked with a couple of board game designers and vendors that have delivered some of the biggest board games ever. And they go, I think I could finally pull off this concept I've had that I've never been able to do on a console before. That's brilliant. And can I get them to sit there and pay them the kind of money or get them to engage in us at where we're at today? We just need to deliver the experience. We need to show where we are in value. And like I say, market will dictate our price point. And I think ultimately, I think we can deliver a really good experience for people. People have the right to disagree with that. That's their right.
No, absolutely.
So I got it. No problem. Again, I think considering I'm on the East Coast and it's like 51 minutes past my bedtime because I'm old. Actually, I've got quite a few emails still to get to tonight.
No, Phil, in all seriousness, I to be quite honest, I kind of figured 30 minutes, and you have been with us for almost 2 hours, and I cannot tell you how thankful we are that you took this time with us to get, to tell us from the proverbial horse's mouth where you guys are, what the road lies ahead. I think we covered, guys, the system's coming to this year. Let's be patient. Let's let this thing ride. I'm very optimistic. John, you've built a great system here. I'm looking forward to your final work. Thank you for also being here tonight, helping out to just kind of tell us where we are.
My pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Really, I agree. Again, we may not have all the answers, but we're working hard at it. We're gonna, and we will continue to bring out information when it's reliable, when we can. But to a certain degree, right now we need to button up and get the job done. We need to dot every I and cross every T and get there. And so a little bit more time and spending in that dedication to deliver on our goal. And our goal is to deliver a great experience to those who have backed and supported. And again, even if you haven't, I get waiting or whatever, hopefully you'll too agree that it's worth it. And thanks for your time, guys.
Well, and something my boss said to me once, it's you can argue about how you got on the island. It's about getting off the island. How do you get off the island? And that's what we're patiently waiting for, is you guys to get off the island. So, Peter, I'm sorry. I go ahead.
I just want to thank Phil and John for for explaining a lot of stuff and sharing some knowledge, and I can't wait for the system to come out and finally get my hands on it, because unfortunately I could not make that Crayola event, and so, but I lived it through Myke with his 2.5 hours live stream, so I could almost touch that controller myself, but yeah.
No, and I still have
love
the disc.
Thank you, Peter, for your support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, we appreciate it. Most people, when they have me on, like to have a mute button because I think I talk a little much, and I may not have given John enough of a forum.
You guys were awesome, and I think it was important. I hope that we found our questions to be fair. I know we didn't want to ask a lot from the chat, but there were a couple of folks in the chat who had some serious questions. We're really glad that you took the time to answer them as well. It's been wonderful. You guys, I cannot thank you enough. This has been fantastic.
again, we appreciate the opportunity, and it doesn't mean there's not challenges and not hard work ahead, but we are doing everything in our power. And believe me, it is, we have a lot of pride in what we're doing. And we've got an awfully lot of really good talent and people that are as dedicated as John. And I mean, people like John and Myke and Gabe. And notice, John, I'm not saying last names
Right.
because we got 5 because we got 5 Mikes, so it looks like I'm
that covers a lot of area. And our developers too. I just want to say a thank you to our developers, very talented teams that have put these games together and worked closely with us, and we really appreciate the work that they put into it. And that reminds me, I wanted to go back to a question you asked earlier. I don't want you to feel like we avoided it. You asked about how many games we'll have out in the first year, and I can't give you a number. We have a slate of games that are ready to go for launch or just right immediately after launch, and we have games waiting in the wings that we're going to focus on once we get these out, and so they'll be coming out. But I don't know what exactly the timing will be, so I can't give you a number. But we have this policy of curating all the games, and we can only focus on so many at a time. So we're going to start pushing those through and going back to these developers who want to do another game for us, right, or new developers, and hopefully eventually, as Phil alluded to, eventually we'll have third parties developing. And we don't know what that exact timeline will be, but we will be making more games for sure that will be coming out.
We also own over 100 intellectual properties as well,
right.
from the from
I saw Jungle Hunt
and iMagic and
Jungle Hunt on that list.
And well, you know what? That's Tommy and John, and it's a different department.
John, I need a Jungle Hunt remake, whatever we call it, reimagine.
Yeah.
I need a new Jungle Hunt, brother John.
I'll write that down.
SEC regulations, no promises, no future. So I'm sorry, our hands are tied, guys. We're dedicated to bringing out retro titles for other properties that we're dealing with. We have X amount of bandwidth to bring them out. We will consistently bring content out to keep our system progressing.
Awesome.
And again, we're building this to be. We're looking at the long haul. We're looking at a very unique system. We certainly aren't selling a system that's competing at with the Xbox, PlayStations of today. Technology-wise, we're competing with a game of solid entertainment, fun, very, very affordable when it comes to prices of software, as well as a console that can deliver that without downloadable content. Even if we take the price of the software up a little bit, it's far less expensive, and you're still not buying downloadable content
or in-game purchases. Where you constantly hit for more money.
We're dedicated to value and the long term of what you bring for an original investment is a lot of hours of fun and excitement over a long period of time. And again, that's what we're dedicated to. And we get the $249 and price or whatever. But people haven't seen the system. They don't know what all it will do, what all the entertainment features are of the console, and the things that we can deliver. And even if you look at 3DO and things in the past, they didn't deliver everything day one. And the titles got better and things got, expanded along the way, as well as other, the Sega system, and the Dreamcast and some of the great consoles. My first real love with console was the PC Engine that I bought in Akihabara in Tokyo when I first was showing Hank Tetris in 1980 something or other. And I loved R-Type, and those were my kind of games. So we're really proud with what we're doing. We bust our butt every day. And hopefully we will hit our goal and deliver an experience that people will enjoy. And the
Awesome.
people that won't or don't buy it. That's fine.
Well,
We're fine with that. We get it.
One is, as Peter and
It's
I
not
have
for
seen, as Peter and I have seen, because we cover the Xbox scene and stuff like that, Phil Spencer's pretty open to licensing out his stuff, so this might be the chance for Pitfall after all, now that he's going to own Activision. Pitfall, River Raid, he wants stuff out wherever people can play it. I'm just saying. But thank you guys so
much. But here's
much.
one thing that I like, I don't like when you buy a system and all of a sudden you have like hundreds of games available. It's like drinking water from a fire hose, it's like all at once, and you don't know what to play, and you play a little bit down here, but so I'd rather have
sometimes I have a hard time going to Cheesecake Factory and they've got 350 items on their menu. Sometimes I like to go to the little Mexican restaurant across the street with 12 items, grab my Corona, some guacamole and chips, and have a burrito. So, it's each to their own. We get that we need to consistently deliver content. We're dedicated to it. They won't all be at once, and we want to continue to hear from people what their favorites are or whatever. There are certain games that are bigger that have had to take a little bit of a backseat to getting the initial tranche out, but it doesn't mean we're not working on them and trying hard and making sure we can deliver a great experience. Again, I don't want to keep repeating myself. You all know what we're dedicated to. I think we've kind of at least let you know kind of where we stand. I think some of that information people feel like we haven't been as forthcoming with because we've been dedicated to kind of getting it out there. But we'll deliver information as we know that we can we'll be forthcoming with what we can when that time is right, but we'll try to continue to communicate with you. And I hope this has been a little bit helpful for people out there who just are kind of wanting to know.
Well, there were over 400 people watching, so you'll be reaching a lot more as this continues to get play, and obviously if there's other questions, if people come to us with questions, if it's okay to shoot them over to you, if you can give me an answer. I did want to, there was one last, and then I swear I'll let you go. This was a question asked and asked earlier. Everybody who has pre-ordered, their pricing is locked in, correct?
I'm pretty sure that's what I said.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Yep. I just wanted to.
Even if I'm delivering those systems at a loss because we manufacture locally before we go overseas, we understand we have to deliver that experience, and a lot of that is with what those cost of goods will be, which will be incredibly high, will determine how many we manufacture in the first tranche and what we come up with a tranche. I don't know how many days later. We'll clarify all of that later.
Sure.
But a lot of that has to do with prices and what we can get and how many but yes, we're not changing the price point. If you're locked in and you've ordered, you're locked in.
All right. My generational gamer who asked that, he goes to bed early because he has to work very early. I will let him know because he was concerned about that. So thank you. We'll let you guys go so that you can do what you need to do. Get some rest. John, you're on West Coast time though. It's like 8 o'clock. You need dinner, don't you?
8 o'clock. I had a banana before the stream started.
Oh, well, there you go.
It may be 11. It may be 11 o'clock, but I've actually got a call in 2 hours. So
all right,
whatever.
Well, you guys
right.
can hang out.
Thanks,
we could talk
Myke.
some we can talk some Call of Duty if you want. So
No, I have to get back to it. I've actually
No,
I need
seriously.
to finish tonight.
No, I honestly was just
you were breaking up. You were breaking up. Yeah, you were breaking up. I just heard duty, so that's going to make me leave. So.
So no, we were actually gonna talk about the announcement about Activision and Call of Duty today, but you guys are here for 2 hours, so we might do that when you guys roll out and talk for a few more minutes. But I was saying you're welcome to hang out. But no, seriously, thank you guys. Get some stuff done, and we will be talking to some other people. Phil, we've been talking about developer, because that's what we do here. Hopefully, talking to some developers soon and starting to get to show some of the games. So,
John,
awesome.
John and I are talking about that. Yeah, and I think probably with somebody like that, it would be great with if they're European, that Hans comes on with them or John comes on with them, and we can talk about the relationship.
Yeah.
But I think we'll look at when we can do that. I think we want to get to the end of the month, kind of get the next step, and then we'll go from there.
I would love that, though. I'd love to shine the spotlight on the developers because they're making the games and they're providing the experience that everyone's going to enjoy. So I love to give them credit and see them get some of the spotlight for sure.
Yeah, and we're dealing with some very, very experienced and talented development teams that have really, they wanted to be part of something unique and special as well. They kind of believed in what we were doing.
Right.
And so some of them have given of themselves in kind of the pay they've accepted and what they've done to help bring product to our console. So they're every bit as much a part of the team as the internal employees as well. We're very proud of the talent that we're working with there. And again, people like our internal team working with them make a great combination.
Well, we'll get that
again.
We'll get that rolling. Yep. Let's get you guys. Let's let you guys get the ship date out, and then we'll start highlighting some developers. So that's really what we love to do here at NLG. Is we love to talk to developers. We've had a lot of them on, and we're always happy to talk to devs. So
cool. Well, have a good night, Myke and Peter.
Thank you guys so much.
I'm gonna head out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. And if you usually talk to developers, I'm sure I was pretty boring tonight, so I'm sorry.
Oh, for God's sakes, man!
Right.
Come on.
Good night, Phil.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take them off the that's not the last picture they see.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But before I forget, I still have one more super chat from DJC Games.
Oh my God, we missed the super chat from DJC, and he's still here.
Cat fighter! ! Meow.
and so I just want to really quick say something before. I think I'd like to have brother Chris back before we start talking about Call of Duty and stuff. It's not fair to talk about that while he's not here. So I want to just. I got to shout out this chat. At times there were 400 people watching this show tonight. That is, I will not lie, we're a small channel, right? That's the most we've had ever watching our channel. And yep, you're right. It's because we had Phil and John on.
I thought it was because Chris wasn't on.
Shots
just
fired.
Kidding, Chris.
Shots fired.
Laughter is the best medicine, so hopefully you will feel better because of that.
But I want to just personally thank the chat tonight. Again, we knew coming in, this has been an issue that has kind of polarized everyone. It's been tough sledding, and Phil and John knew that we were going to ask questions. We were going to there were things we wanted to know, and Peter, your question about was important about what happens when somebody walks into the store and sees both systems and such, and I thought their answer was perfect. And they know they're not competing with other guys,
right?
So, but regardless of that, the chat has been absolutely wonderful tonight. Everybody was respectful. Everybody was engaged. A lot of great comments. for. Some people just don't, yeah, right. Like top spot. He's just simply wait and see. Totally cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's like, remember, I've said many times, it's like, I'm not sure we're going to keep my pre-order or not. And
you have done that.
like,
and I totally get that. I have no issue. I've had issue with some of the bad information going on because that's not fair. But if you look at this thing, I mean, I could have gone to Crayola and played it and been like, all right, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And then that would have been that.
right. But that's, and initially I thought like, okay, those events are great, but now I definitely see, the value of those because, it's not just some vaporware or an idea that's down there and, they show some, some stock photos between the quotes. I mean, you actually played it and, that's fantastic. I mean, that's got me even more excited.
And more importantly, Seth played it, and that was more important to me than me playing it. And Desperado, you're absolutely right. The only way to return confidence is to ship consoles out. Now, I wanted to have, we wanted to because we are, this is what we do. We have people on, from all walks of gaming, and we wanted them to tell it from their perspective, from their mouths. We didn't want to put any words in anybody's mouth. So, it is up to you guys to believe or not believe what they said. And that's okay. It's perfectly okay. And I think they would say the same thing. And in fact, Phil said that numerous times. It's okay. And if you're a wait and see, that's okay too. But you guys in the chat tonight have been, hey, Shaddai, brother Shaddai came. You guys in the chat have been absolutely spectacular, and I want to thank you personally for just being great.
And I think I've said welcome to everybody here in the chat. If I left you out, I'm sorry. Getting older by the minute. Forgive me.
Well, what we do want to tell you, so, what we are is, this is a part of what we cover. So we do cover everything from classic gaming all the way up to modern. And like tomorrow night, Peter and I will be doing our Friday night with Peter and Myke stream. We're going to be doing some co-op. I have no idea yet what we're going to do. Maybe some Wolfenstein Youngblood, maybe some...
Yeah. Or we want to play apparently a bad game that just came out. Now, the name escaped me already.
Crossfire X. Yeah, we could try some Crossfire X.
Maybe do
I know
that
John, I know Retro Bro and some other folks want to play some Halo Infinite. I'm down to try big team battle again.
Because apparently it's fixed.
So next week we will talk about Call of Duty. We'll talk about the Nintendo Direct. We'll get back to some modern gaming. We'll continue to cover the Amico when the ship date's out. We'll talk about that. But hopefully, guys, thank you. Hit that like button on the way out, please. And if you like what you saw tonight, want to see some more, want to come back into our great chat for our Thursday nights, hit that subscribe button.
A little bell, so you know when we're on.
Hit the little bell. At the end of the month, Peter, I let me get this out too. Since he's in the chat, we hereby officially challenge Go Game Go. Chris is not here, but he knows it. We officially challenge Go Game Go on February 25th. It's going to be our monthly stream and chat to a night of Rocket League. So,
man, I haven't played it in forever.
You're gonna have to start practicing because they're good at it. So it's gonna be you, me, and Chris versus Stu, Jeff, and I think Papa Pete. So it's gonna be a good night of Rocket League. So that's coming.
That's gonna be cool.
Guys, again, thank you so much. We're gonna go ahead and this is a first for us. Those of our regulars know we never go only 2 hours. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here because we don't want to talk about this stuff without brother Chris being here. So he'll be back next week. Again, thank you guys so much. This has been a wonderful night. And without all of you, this doesn't happen. So No, thank you to our Gamers United Guild folks who've been in the chat, all of our mods who helped out. Check out all of our Gamers United Guild channels below, including DJC, Go Game Go, Geeks with Cash. Who else has been in here? From Invader, TXR has been in here. 108 Dragons, who I just see. Brother Lemon, man, he's got an awesome Saturday night show. Welcome Big Block. And just, check these guys out too, because you'll get all kinds of stuff from retro gaming all the way up to Xbox, PlayStation, and stuff. Great show, Peter. Great show.
It was a great show.
So, and thank you to all the
And Phil and
Intellivision
John,
folks.
it's like, man, it's awesome to have them in here and
Absolutely.
tell their stuff and answer our questions. Fantastic.
Yeah. And having Guido and Scott Mitchell and Bill Foster in the chat hanging out. Scott, you guys, I definitely want to talk to you, Scott Barrett. I definitely want to talk to you about Bomb Squad. So I'm gonna try to set that up. So, but gosh,
I can't wait to have an Amico here, and we'll do some streaming and other stuff.
Yes. And we're gonna get together because you and I live close enough.
Yes,
we can get together and we can get the kids playing, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, all right, let's get on out of here. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Night with Peter and Myke. So, pick up a controller, get some gaming in. We will see you next Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next Thursday night for another NLG show.
And if you're on PC, pick up a mouse.
You know
and
what?
You was D.
Thank you. So, play on, gamers.
Come on, guys.